Welcome back to the deep dive. You know that feeling, that moment of just intense frustration when you look at a successful online business?
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Maybe they sell a simple course or, I don't know, some strange widget, and they just seem to be generating massive revenue, almost effortlessly. Meanwhile, your expertly designed, maybe $10,000 website feels like a digital ghost town.
And if you felt that, you're definitely not alone. That frustration, it comes from modeling what's on the surface. You're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
We spent a lot of time digging into the sources today, and they all confirm this. The beautiful website, the elegant logo, that's the visible part. That's the $10,000 piece. But the real engine, the $10 million revenue stream, that's happening through steps and systems that are, well, completely invisible to the naked eye.
Exactly. So our mission today is to unpack the core secrets of what's called direct response marketing. These are the foundations of those, highly profitable online businesses.
And maybe we should define that really quick. Direct response isn't about brand awareness. It's about getting a measurable action right now. A sale, a lead, something you can track.
Yeah, quantifiable ROI. And these systems, they're so efficient, they can let a business make 2 to 3 times as much money from the exact same traffic it's already getting.
And if you listen to anyone who's scaled a business using these principles, they all boil it down to one guiding truth.
Which is?
The business that can spend the most to acquire a customer wins.
I find that so counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Everyone in the early stages is so focused on finding cheaper traffic, right?
Oh.
But the solution is actually to build a better experience so you can afford to spend more than your competitors.
That's the key mindset shift. You can't really control the cost of Facebook ads.
No.
But you can control what happens and how much value you get once a lead gets to your site. Fixing that sales funnel is the only way to open the floodgates.
Okay, let's unpack this with the first critical system. This is all about solving a huge psychological hurdle. It's called the value ladder.
Right. And the sources make such a clear point here. It's almost impossible to sell your highest priced service, say a $50,000 coaching package, to a complete stranger.
You just can't do it.
No. There's no trust. There's no proof you can deliver. So the value ladder is the framework for arranging all your products and services so clients move up, step by step, in value and in price.
What I found so fascinating was how the sources laid this out with real-world examples. The dentist analogy is perfect. Yeah. What was the absolute lowest rung, the bait they used to get a new patient in the door?
It was a postcard, and it offered a free teeth cleaning.
Free?
Exactly. The barrier to entry is 0. The perceived value is immediate. It doesn't matter if you have insurance or not. A free cleaning gets you into the office, and that establishes just a tiny bit of value.
And the second they're in that chair, the whole dynamic changes, right?
Completely. The dentist isn't just selling anymore. He's an expert diagnosing a problem. And in this case, the sources detailed how the dentist just, casually noted the patient's teeth were a bit yellow.
Which immediately leads to an upsell.
Immediately. Custom teeth whitening trays. And while the patient is already saying yes to that, the dentist finds another small issue, some minor shifting, and suggests retainers.
So the patient walks in for a free service.
And walks out less than an hour later, having spent over $2,000. But here's the crucial point. It wasn't high pressure. The client ascended because the dentist provided clear, undeniable value, and then offered the solution to the next problem he uncovered.
And we see this everywhere. The chiropractor example was the same. They struggled when they just offered high-priced adjustments, but then they built a value ladder. The bait became a free 15-minute massage.
A simple change, but it shifted their whole business. The massage therapists are trained to find the physical issues. They're the frontline experts who then recommend the next logical step and adjustment.
Which then leads to ongoing wellness programs.
And long-term contracts. The client is always moving up because they see the immediate benefit at each stage.
So the core lesson for you listening is this. Most businesses only have 1 or 2 offers. But to really maximize the value of every single customer, you need a full ladder. From the free bait all the way up. That's the infrastructure that lets you afford to outspend everyone else to get that first lead.
Okay, so once you have the value ladder structured, the next question is obvious. How do you get the right people onto that bottom rung?
And this brings us to finding the audience. I love this idea that traffic isn't something you create, it's something you find.
Yeah.
The sources really nailed the historical perspective here. Before the internet, imagine you had a really niche product, like an advanced chemistry kit for high schoolers. How on earth did you find 5 kids in one town and 3 in another? It was basically impossible.
Wildly expensive and just inefficient. But that's the genius of what the sources call digital congregations. The internet allows these super specific groups to gather in one spot. If you're selling a course for wrestling coaches, you don't advertise broadly. You go to theamat.com or specific NCAA wrestling groups on Facebook.
That's where the gold clumps together in a vein, right? You don't have to mine the whole mountain. But here's the next layer. Just finding the congregation isn't enough. You have to nail the message.
Exactly. We've shifted from these broad traditional demographics like women, 36 to 45, who like cooking, to hyper-relevant personalized messaging. If an ad isn't speaking directly to a person's immediate need, they just subconsciously screen it out.
The pet food analogy was perfect for this. Let's say you own a pet store. You run an ad with a happy dog eating food. A guy who owns 3 cats and 0 dogs is going to ignore that ad completely.
Even if your store sells the best cat food in the country.
Exactly. The message wasn't relevant to him, so the ad was totally wasted. You have to target mindset, not just age and location.
So this is where the deeper research comes in. You have to go beyond demographics. What are their desires? What problems keep them up at 3 a.m.? Are they afraid of public speaking? Are they struggling with time poverty?
And after you've done that, that psychological deep dive, the last step is asking the most important question. Where are they congregating? Is it on a specific YouTube channel, a niche forum, a specialized newsletter? Finding that spot makes traffic acquisition, simple and profitable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we know our audience, we know where they live online. Now we need a magnet to pull them in. And that's where the attractive character, or AC, comes in. This is the persona that builds that loyal following and ultimately drives sales.
And the AC doesn't have to be the founder. The classic example is Jared from Subway. He wasn't the owner, he was the living embodiment of the product story. The power of the AC is all about connection and narrative. People don't just buy a product, they buy into a personality.
We see it all the time in entertainment. Why do people line up for the next Julia Roberts movie or the next Star Wars film? They're paying for that story, for the relationship they have with that character. Your business needs that same kind of gravitational pull.
And to make that character work, the sources break it down into 3 core components. First is the backstory. It has to be related to what you're selling. If you sell a productivity system, your backstory needs to be about your own struggles with disorganization.
Right. But just showing your success isn't enough, which leads to the second part, and maybe the most important. Character flaws. Vulnerability.
This is so crucial. We don't connect with perfection, we connect with shared struggle. A perfect AC is boring. They're a guru on a mountaintop. The moment you expose a flaw, a secret fear, a funny habit, you become human. It's like Superman's kryptonite.
It lets the audience empathize because they're flawed too.
Exactly. And finally, you need compelling storylines. The most effective one for conversion is the before and after transformation. First, I was struggling with this problem, then I found this solution, and now I have this result. It's a simple, powerful engine for motivation.
The sources also really stress the importance of polarity.
Yes. This is where so many businesses go wrong. They try to appeal to everyone, so they end up being bland and neutral, and neutrality is boring. An effective AC is almost always polarizing. They have strong opinions, they stick to their guns.
Wait, isn't there a risk there? That you'll alienate a huge chunk of your potential market? It feels like you're intentionally pushing people away.
It feels that way, but it's necessary. By being polarizing, you do 2 things. 1, you push away the people who are never going to buy anyway, the tire kickers, the critics.
Okay.
But more importantly, you draw your true audience, your raving fans, so much closer. You give them a flag to rally around. And that dense, passionate enthusiasm is worth so much more than a broad, lukewarm acceptance. So you've found the congregation, you've attracted them with a compelling character. Now comes the single most important goal. Converting that traffic into something the sources call traffic you own, a distribution channel that generates instant, pure profit.
We're talking about an email list. This is the best kind of traffic because it's an asset you actually control. You don't have to buy it again from Facebook or Google. Every dollar you make from that list is essentially pure profit.
And there's a really clear metric that proves its value. Businesses running these funnels average about $1 per month for each name on their email list. So 10,000 names, that's $10,000 a month in predictable revenue.
Wow, so the highest priority for any new traffic is to convert them into an owned asset. And to do that, you need what's called the soap opera sequence, or SOS.
Right. It's usually a 5-day autoresponder sequence, and it's designed to build a fast, intense relationship. It's structured just like a TV show, high drama, emotional stakes, and open loops.
And what I love about this is you don't start at the beginning of the story. You open with the point of highest drama.
Jump right in. Instead of, I was a troubled teen, you start with the panic of college graduation day. You realize the real world just means debt and a dead-end job. You open that dramatic question, and then you go back and fill in the story.
Hitting the wall, the epiphany, and then revealing the solution, which is your product.
And you have to weave in that continuity. Each email opens a loop, a question, or a curiosity that the next email closes. It makes subscribers anxious to get the next installment. Then, email 5 is the critical close. That's where you inject real urgency, the last call that the special offer is going away today.
So after that initial 5-day sprint, you shift into maintenance mode with the Seinfeld emails. I love this comparison.
Me too.
The recommendation is daily emails that are, 90% entertainment and 10% content.
They're about nothing, just like the show. They're not sales pitches. They're just random, entertaining, relatable stories. An update on a jiu-jitsu tournament, a funny thing that happened at the store, anything. The goal is simple. Maintain the relationship. Keep the attractive character top of mind.
Because occasionally you just tie one of those relatable stories back to a product offer. And the proof point on this was incredible. The business had a 6-figure sales week without a new launch, all while the founder was away at a wrestling match.
That's the definition of a system. It operates on its own and generates revenue purely from that maintained relationship. Which brings us to our final system. Optimizing the funnels themselves by really understanding the psychology of conversion.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The principle of the pre-frame bridge. The idea is that the psychological frame a visitor comes through determines their entire perception of your sales page.
The classic study cited in the sources demonstrates this perfectly. A group of students rated the exact same professor giving the exact same lecture completely differently, and it was all based on one sentence in his bio.
Just one sentence.
If the bio called him a warm person, the students found him charming and enthusiastic. If the bio called him rather cold, the same students found him irritable and ruthless. The pre-frame changed everything.
So we have to apply this to our traffic, which comes in at different temperatures. Hot traffic knows and trusts you. Cold traffic has no idea who you are and probably doesn't understand your jargon.
And cold traffic is the most profitable to convert, but you can't hit them with technical language right away. They need a separate pre-frame bridge page to educate them first. A health company selling a neuropathy product is a perfect example.
Right. Cold traffic knows they have nerve pain. They don't know the word neuropathy.
So if you send them straight to a sales page using that technical term, they'll think, that's not for me, and they'll leave. But if you send them to a pre-frame page first that says, if you have nerve pain, it's likely caused by something called neuropathy, and you explain it simply.
You remove that friction. So when they finally land on the sales page, the technical language makes perfect sense. That one extra step can just exponentially expand your universe of potential customers.
And finally, we have to talk about the psychological power of the word free. The researchers with the chocolate, the Lindt truffle versus the Hershey's Kiss.
Oh, this was fascinating.
When the truffle was 26 cents and the kiss was 1 cent, buying was split 50-50. But when they dropped both prices by 1 cent, so the kiss became free and the truffle was 25 cents, suddenly 90% of people took the free kiss.
Even though the price difference was identical, that power of zero is just disproportionately huge, which is why the simplest shipping, or F+S, offer is so effective for qualifying buyers.
It combines the power of free, a physical book for no cost, while still making the customer pull out their credit card for shipping. That first yes, even for just $7.95, creates a psychological slippery slope.
They've already committed, so they're way more likely to take the next upsell.
And the numbers on this are staggering. The sources cited a free book offer where for every book they gave away, the business averaged $66 in immediate revenue from the upsells in the funnel.
$66. Think about that. If you know you're going to make that much immediately, you could spend $50 or $60 on ads to acquire that customer and still be profitable on day one. Your competitors, just selling a $20 product, can't even touch that. All right, man. So let's wrap this all up. We've covered 3 fundamental systems today. The value ladder, to structure your offers for client ascension. The attractive character, to build a loyal following through story and polarity. And the communication funnels, the soap opera sequence and Seinfeld emails that turn traffic into owned, profitable assets.
These are the invisible steps. The structural secrets that dramatically increase the worth of every single customer. And if you feel like your brain is overflowing with connections right now, that's a good thing. The sources all confirm this is the biggest difference between a struggling business and a multi-million-dollar one. It's about implementing these automated systems that run behind the scenes.
The ultimate key to freedom, right? Like the entrepreneur making six figures while he's away wrestling. That's a system that operates completely independently of your daily work. So here's a final thought to consider. Which one piece of your current business structure, not just your ads, but the structure itself, is the biggest thing holding you back from financial freedom? Is it a missing rung on your value ladder? Is it a lack of relationship building in your emails? What one small immediate change to that structure could unlock that hidden exponential growth for you? Think about it. We'll see you on the next deep dive.